Now we go back to Honorable Ridon.
Ginong Madriaga, magandang umaga po.
Magandang umaga po.
Yung pong affidavit na binabanggit po ninyo, meron po kayong pirma dito, no?
Opo, Madam Chair.
So kayo po mismo yung pumirma dito sa affidavit po na ito.
Opo, Madam Chair.
Walang pumirma para sa inyo.
Opo, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Can we be specific, Congressman Ridon, because it appears that there are two affidavits already. The original consisting of 5 pages and the supplemental affidavit which was mentioned by the Honorable Abante.
Sige po, maglilinaw ho tayo. So bukod po doon sa affidavit na pinirmahan na binigyan po ng kopya si Congresswoman De Lima, meron pa po ba kayong ibang mga dokumento o affidavit na pinirmahan, Ginoong Madriaga?
Opo, bukod po dun sa November 29 na affidavit, ay meron pa po akong supplemental na ginawa, sinumpaang salaysay na may petsang April 11, 2026.
So ito po yung supplemental affidavit, bagong affidavit po ito.
Opo, Madam Chair.
Meron po ba kayong kopya ng supplemental affidavit po na ito?
Opo, Madam Chair, nasa abogado ko po.
Madam Chair, kasi yung affidavit po ay nakalagay po sa records po ng komite. Ang supplemental affidavit po ay bagong affidavit, karagdagang affidavit ni Ginoong Madriaga. Tingin ko mahalaga po na mabasa sa harap po ng komite na ito yung kabuuan po ng supplemental affidavit para mag-form part ng records at syempre masumpaan din po na ni Ginoong Madriaga ang katotohanan po ng bagay na ito. Madam Chair.
So there is a request for Madriaga to read his supplemental affidavit. Do you have with you the copy?
Opo, Madam Chair.
Yes, if there are no objections from the members, then we give the floor to Madriaga to read his supplemental affidavit.
Madam Chair.
For the guidance of the members, we also direct the COMSEC, if it is possible, to flash in the screen the supplemental affidavit of the resource person as he read the same. Kindly provide as well copies of the supplemental affidavit to all the members. And flash the same in the screen as the resource person read the contents of the supplemental affidavit. You may proceed, Mr. Madriaga. Please read your supplemental affidavit.
Opo, salamat po, Madam Chair. Supplemental affidavit. I, Ramil L. Madriaga of legal age, Filipino and with address at care of Annex 2, BGMP Camp Bagong Diwa, Taguig City, after having been duly sworn in accordance with law, do hereby state, 1. I am currently a detainee at Camp Bagong Diwa, Taguig City, for charges of kidnapping, criminal case number RMNL-22-05157-CR, and R-MNL-22-05158, pending before the Regional Trial Court, Branch 21, RTC Manila. 2. On November 29, 2025, I executed an affidavit which was subscribed and sworn to before Attorney Cynthia Biñas Pentonal on the same day. In my affidavit, I narrated my involvement with then President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, PRRD, his daughter Sara Duterte, Sara, other members of their family, and their close associates. More specifically, I provided a personal account of the various works I did for the aforementioned individuals, including campaign and organizing activities, intelligence gathering and sabotage, and transportation of large sums of money under the direct instructions of either PRD or SARA. 3. With my consent, my affidavit was submitted and referred to the Office of the Ombudsman through a letter dated December 15, 2025. 4. After I executed my affidavit, I learned that Sara denied any affiliation with me and that she has no personal or professional relationship with me. She added that she has never given me any instruction of any kind. 5. I received through my counsel a copy of complaint dated March 4, 2026, filed by Sara or BP Sara herself. before the Office of the City Prosecutor, Taguig City, for perjury. In her complaint, BP Sara reiterated that she has no personal or professional relationship with me. In fact, prior to the dissemination of the Madriaga affidavit, BP Sara had no recollection of knowing, meeting, or interacting with me. 6. However, her denial of any affiliation with me is absolutely false. She lied under oath in her perjury complaint against me. Hence, I decided to execute a supplemental affidavit providing further details on the narration I made in my previous affidavit with additional accounts of other orders, tasks, or works given to me by either PRD or Sara, or BP Sara. Engagement and activities with President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. 7. Prior to the 2016 national elections campaign, I was working for then Congressman Roylo Goles as one of his political officers specializing in intelligence gathering and sabotage operations. Congressman Goles decided to support the candidacy of PRRD. Hence, he introduced me and endorsed my services to PRRD during their meeting at the latter's residence in Taal Street, Bangkal, Davao City. Around the 2015 or early 2016, he mentioned to PRRD that I was previously under detention and that I later survived death row. Congressman Goles also added that I am his #1 asset in the National Security Council during his time as National Security Advisor. 9. When PRRD was elected president, Cong Goles' brother, Ferdinand Goles, was appointed as a member of the Board of Directors or the Base Conversion and Development Authority, BCDA. On the other hand, PRRD directed me to serve as a counterintelligence agent for the National Security Council. 10. However, I was never under the employ of the Office of the President or any government agency. Instead, I was directly employed by PRRD. I received my salary from a certain Canlas, a PNP officer, previously from Davao, at the start of every month in the amount of 100,000 pesos to 150,000 pesos in cash. 11. As part of my duties, PRRD specifically instructed me to monitor, operate, and sabotage former Senator Trillanes. However, PRRD was apprehensive in ordering the assassination of Senator Trillanes because of the latter's support and contact in the armed forces of the Philippines. 12. Sometime in 2018, PRRD asked BP Sara, to go to his home in Taal Street, Bangkal, Davao City, to discuss upcoming local elections in Davao City, where BP Sara was going to run for re-election as mayor. During this meeting, PRRD introduced me to Sara and told me, "Ram, ikaw na bahala kay Inday." Since then, I've frequently met and discussed with BP Sara, then Mayor Sara, regarding various matters. However, she gave me strict instructions that all conversations should be done as much as possible by call and minimize text messages. 13. Furthermore, PRRD also asked me to profile individuals associated with BP Sara, then again Mayor Sara, because she is his favorite among his children. PRRD wanted BP Sara in politics instead of Paulo Duterte Pulong and Sebastian Duterte Baste, who he characterized as baliw and bading, respectively. Number 14, sometimes in 2021, PRRD gave me 25 million to purchase high-end motorcycles for Sara's use while she is in Metro Manila and other ordinary motorcycles for our group operations. 15, hence, I bought two 2021 model Harley-Davidson motorcycles from a dealership in Green Hills, EDSA for around 2,500,000 pesos, inclusive of accessories, and around 2 million pesos exclusive accessories, respectively. Both Harley-Davidson motorcycles were placed under the name of my son. I also purchased two 2021 model Ducati motorcycles from a dealership in Katipunan, Quezon City for around 3,500,000 pesos and around 2,300,000 pesos, respectively. In addition, I also bought accessories for these Ducati motorcycles in the total amount of 500,000 pesos. Both the Ducati motorcycles were placed under my name. 17. Lastly, I also purchased 7 Yamaha NMAX motorcycles for the operation of Initiative for Social Justice Innovation and Progress Pilipinas, or ISIP Pilipinas. The remaining money was distributed to my colleagues in ISIP Pilipinas. 18. All purchases of these motorcycles, including the aforementioned accessories, were paid in cash using the money given to me by PRRD. Custom magnetic lifter transaction with Attorney Manscarpio. Sometime in 2017 or 2018, PRD told me to assist the husband of Sarah, Attorney Manasseh Manscarpio, regarding a problem with the Bureau of Customs. However, no specific details were provided by PRD. Thereafter, Attorney Mans called me. We later decided to meet in front of a coffee shop in Burgos Circle in Bonifacio Global City, Taguig City. During our conversation, he asked me to assist in facilitating the release of what he called construction equipment, which was plugged and confiscated by the Bureau of Customs. Attorney Mans gave me a contact person, a female lawyer, to coordinate with it regarding the BOC problem. After 2 days, I went to the BOC to meet the female lawyer to discuss the release of construction equipment. This time, I learned that the construction equipment was actually magnetic lifters. The same were confiscated because it contained a large amount of shabu. However, the female lawyer informed me that it was difficult to release the same because it was a hot item. 22. I reported this to Attorney Mans and we meet again in the same spot in BGC, Taguig City. This was the last time we met regarding the issue. Later, I learned that the content of the magnetic lifters is at least 500 kilograms of shabu worth 4.3 billion pesos were mysteriously missing. Dummy accounts and bank transactions of PRD. Despite only earning 100,000 pesos or to 150,000 pesos from my services to PRD, millions of pesos went through bank accounts opened for me by close associates of PRD. I admit that during PRD's term as president, I served as a dummy for the transfer of large amount of money. These transfers were made through bank accounts that were opened under my name, which include but are not limited to the following: China Bank, Legazpi Village, Makati City; China Bank, Main Makati City; China Bank near the Power Station at Ayala, Makati City; PNB Makati Metropolitan Avenue Branch, Makati City; an unknown bank in Pasig City, Sirey Mudo.
If I may interrupt, Mr. Madriaga, COMSEC, kindly continue flashing on the screen the pages of the affidavit from where the resource person is reading. And kindly speak closer to the microphone, Mr. Madriaga,
Opo,
please.
Madam Chair.
Thank you. Please continue.
25. However, I have never personally opened these accounts or appeared before the said banks to process any application in relation thereto. These were opened by people close to PRRD, who informed me that money will be transferred to these accounts for intelligence operation and for laundering. I was later instructed to sign an entire checkbook where the amounts and pays are left blank. I agreed to do this because at the time I had complete trust in PRD and his close associates. 26. On some occasions, PRD would call me to inform me that someone from the aforementioned bank would contact me to confirm a withdrawal or encashment. Of checks. There were also instances that where PRD would instruct me to personally visit the said banks to pick up the money and bring it to Malacanang or to the designated individuals. I distinctly remember that PRRD directed me on 3 separate occasions to pick up 100 million from a bank inside the mall in Lubao, Pampanga, which were all delivered to Malacanang. On another incident, I was informed by PRRD that the 2 land bank managers' check which were to be delivered to one of our safe houses in Eastwood, Quezon City, in the amounts of 84,200,000 pesos and 4,800,000 pesos, respectively, were issued under my name. Copies of the 2 land bank managers' checks are hereby attached as annexes A and A-1. 28. To prove the aforementioned allegations, I am willing to execute an affidavit, authorization, or any other document, and to perform all acts necessary for Committee on Justice of the House of Representatives or the courts to access the aforementioned bank accounts and all other bank accounts under my name. Term sharing and destabilization efforts. 29. Sometime in November 2021, PRD mentioned to me that Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. will run for the president while Sara will serve as his running mate. PRD added that a few months ago, BBM and Senator Jaime Marcos visited him to discuss a possible alliance to the 2022 national elections. During this meeting, BBM was able to convince PRD to have Sara as BBM's vice president. However, they also agreed that by 2025, BBM will voluntarily step down to give way for a Sara presidency. After Sara took her oath as vice president, PRRD had a discussion with me, with retired generals of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, where I was also present regarding all the possible scenarios for unseating BBM by 2025. In case he reneged on his promise, the general objective was to ensure that PBBM will only serve less than 4 years of his term as president, so that Sara, upon assumption to the presidency, will still be eligible for the presidency in 2028. 31. I remember that one of the plans considered was to sabotage BBM's administration by using some of BBM's own men, either recommended by PRD for appointment or allied with the Dutertes, to reveal supposed corruption issues that will serve as a precursor for an impeachment for complaint. 32. In the event that BBM will not voluntarily step down or hand over the presidency to Sara, extraordinary measures of overthrowing BBM will be considered, which include assassination, mass resignation of government officials, civil disobedience, and even an armed assault of Malacanang Palace. It was also considered by PRD to arrange assassination or armed hits of several government officials in order to cause massive civil unrest. The resulting civil unrest will be used as basis to organize a group of military officers to stage a coup. 33. One of my assignments was to recruit civil groups, schools, clubs, fraternities, criminal groups, and syndicates. Inday Sara is my president, ISIP, at 2022 national elections campaign. 34. In 2020, I was instructed by PRRD and Sara to help form a group to support Sara's candidacy for president in the 2022 national elections. Hence, I helped establish and register a non-profit corporation called Initiative for Social Justice Innovation and Progress, or ISIP Pilipinas, Incorporated. But to us supporters of Sara, ISIP actually stands for Inday Sara is my president. I helped establish ISIP together with some friends of BP Sara and alumni of San Sebastian College of Law, SSC Law, including Assistant Special Prosecutor Ryan Ray Kilala of the Office of the Ombudsman and his wife, Aurea Fortuna Kilala. A screenshot of one of ISIP's video conference meetings where Sara and Attorney Ryan were present is here to attach as Annex B. A photo of Attorney Reynold Monsayac wearing an Inday Sara is my president is here to attach as Annex B-1. 35. I got close with Attorney Ryan, who was previously a professor of Sara and former associate dean of SSC Law. He shared with me that Sara was not particularly good in school, was often struggling with her academics and habitually rude and violent to other students. Hence, Attorney Ryan used his influence in San Sebastian College of Law to ensure that Sara received passing grades despite her poor academic performance. 36. Attorney Ryan and his wife became quite close to me and my family that they agreed to serve as godparents in my son's wedding. A photo of Attorney Ryan and Rhea taken during my son's wedding is here to attach as Annex C. Shortly after we organized ISIP, I was informed by PRRD that funding will be made available for the activities of ISIP through the contribution of his friends and supporters. One of those friends and supporters is Lin Wei Zhong, who was the financial officer of Parmalee Pharmaceuticals. Sometime in June or July 2021, PRRD informed me that someone will call me to directly coordinate the turnover of 175 million to fund ISIP's organizing efforts, promotional and campaign activities. Thereafter, a man called me to proceed to the basement parking of Seda Hotel, Quezon City, to pick up the said amount. Thus, I hurriedly went to the place with my cousin Rosenda Madriaga. As I recall, the money was placed inside several large backpacks and bags, which were handed to me at basement of parking of Seda Hotel, Quezon City. I loaded the same to my white Toyota Land Cruiser. Lin Wei Xiong was present when I received the said amount together with two other individuals. He then asked me where will the money be used. I informed him that this will be used to fund election of Sara, to which he replied, good, good. 40. I directly brought this money to my house for safekeeping. Thereafter, I used this money to fund the campaign activities of ISIP across the country and to establish, organize, and maintain its chapters for the purpose of promoting Sara's presidential bid in 2022 national election. Some of these chapters include Quezon, Binangonan, Bicol, Antipolo, Quezon City, Zambales, Leyte. Photos of ISIP Pilipinas activities are here to attach as annexes D to D-7. 41. The expenses for the activities include costs for merchandise, travel, accommodations, rental fees for offices, lump sum distribution to identified leaders who in turn pledged to organize for Sara in their respective communities, and allowances of volunteers and organizers. However, upon the request of Attorney Ryan, I personally delivered 15 million to him in his office at the Office of the Ombudsman. From time to time, PRD would talk to me to check if there is still sufficient funding for ISIP. When the initial amount funding ran out, I promptly informed him and he directed me to get another 100 million pesos from Maestrado Lim, who we call Tanda, at the Hyatt Regency in Bonifacio Global City, Taguig City. The money was placed in several bags and were handed to me by Maestrado Lim. 43. I distinctly remember Maestrado Lim because he previously mentioned during one of our meetings in Davao City that he hated Filipinos in general and Filipino businessmen in particular, stating that peste yung mga Pilipino, yung mga businessman walang kwenta. Aside from Lin Wei Xiong and Maestrado Lim, I also remember that Michael Yang, a very close friend of PRRD who was frequently in Malacanang, also provided financial support to ISIP Pilipinas. 45. On September 29, 2021, and despite our extensive campaign activities, I was informed by Sara that she will no longer run for president and will instead run for as BBM's vice president in 2022 elections. This decision caused deep frustration among the members of ISIP. Hence, we organized a video conference with Sara where I personally asked her to reconsider her decision, as we have already poured some substantial effort toward promoting her candidacy for president through ISIP. During our video conference, I also noticed the painting I personally gave her as a gift. A screenshot of our video conference is here to attach as Annex A. 46. On the same day, I posted the screenshot of our video conference of my Facebook account with the caption, just telling her I cannot vote intelligently without her name on the ballot. Neither can go out and vote wisely unless the same Inday Sara Duterte Carpio appears as a candidate in the 2022 presidential race, ISIP Pilipinas. A printout of the Facebook post dated September 29, 2021 is here to attach as Annex F.
Mr. Madriaga, would you like to drink water first
Yes, Your Honor. If I
to
may.
give you some relief? This is quite a lengthy affidavit. Please provide him some water.
Thank you po, Madam Chair.
Grabe yung mga revelasyon ha, pero natawa ako doon sa sinasabing meron daw bading at baliw na anak itong si dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte, kung saan si Rodrigo Duterte mismo ang nag-characterize sa kanyang mga anak.
Can I proceed na, Madam Chair?
Yes, you may.
46. On the same day, I posted the same screenshot of our video conference on my Facebook account with the caption, just telling her I cannot vote intelligently without her name on the ballot. Neither can go out and vote wisely unless the name Inday Sara Duterte Carpio appears as a candidate to presidential race, Pilipinas. A printout of the Facebook post dated September 29, 2021 is here to attach.
May I know what's happening to you, Mr. Madriaga? You seem to be crying. Are you crying?
I just remember one moment.
Are you crying?
I just,
You are nearly crying. May I just put it on record that while reading these portions of the affidavit, the resource person, Ramil Madriaga, is breaking into tears. Can we go back to where you felt frustrated and you're nearly crying? Which part of your affidavit is that? Can we go back to that?
number 46 po, Madam Chair.
Number 46. Let's go back to number 46. Okay, you may read from 46, Mr. Madriaga.
On the same day, I posted the screenshot of our video conference on my Facebook account with the caption just telling her, I cannot vote intelligently without her name on the ballot. Neither can go out and vote wisely unless the name Inday Sara Duterte Carpio appears as a candidate in the 2022 presidential race.
Would you like
47.
to say something
No,
about why you are crying on this part of the affidavit?
hindi naman, malungkot lang po.
Malungkot. Okay, please proceed.
Madam Chair, can we allow the witness to please?
Honorable
get his-
Dumogan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can we allow the witness to please get his
Yes.
composure before he will continue?
Yes, we are temporarily suspending to give time to Mr. Madriaga to console himself.
Grabe, no? Sa sama ng loob niya, mga tol. Talagang bumigay na si Ramil Madriaga into tears. Talagang umiyak na siya, hindi lang naluha. Para tuloy akong naluluha rin, ano? Kasi alam niyo mga tol, kapag may mga pinagdadaanan ng tao, ako, na-experience ko talaga before yan. Sa harapan ng mga estudyante ko, nung ako po may pinagdadaan ng pagsubok, naiyak talaga ako. No? Naluha talaga ako. At humingi ako ng 10 minutong break sa aking mga estudyante para lamang makonsol ko yung sarili.
Maybe we can recognize first Attorney Terry Redon, Congressman Terry Redon, if he has other concerns about the affidavit. What's the pleasure of the Honorable Redon? Because it is on your motion, on your request that Mr. Madriaga is reading this affidavit that causes him to cry a lot.
I think we have to let him finish the affidavit, the reading of the supplemental affidavit until the very end, Madam Chair. And he should be allowed to proceed as soon as he has composed himself. Madam Chair.
May I proceed, Madam Chair?
Are you ready?
Opo, Madam Chair.
Okay, you may proceed, Mr. Madriaga.
47. Nevertheless, Sara proceeded to run as BBM's vice president under the unity ticket. I continued assisting her campaign for vice president during campaign sorties. I served as advance party to municipalities, cities, provinces where Sara was scheduled to visit and campaign. In several of these campaign sorties, I personally joined Sara together with other members and volunteers of ISIP, which to us now refer to Inday Sara para sa ikalawang Pangulo. Photos of Sara and me in several campaign sorties are here to attach as Annex G to G-3. 48. During one of the activities of ISIP in Bataan, I got to know a group of farmers who were asking for assistance because of land grabbing incidents in their area. I tried assisting them and I discovered that the entity behind the land grabbing in First Bataan Maribelas Holdings Corporation. More than a year later, I informed Sara about this concern and she told me to bring the group to one of her residences in Metro Manila located at Serendra Bonifacio Global City, Taguig City. I asked the group of farmers to wait outside of Serendra as I went to talk to Sarah. When I mentioned to Sarah the First Bataan Maribeles Holdings Corporation is the one involved in the land grabbing incidents, she told me that she cannot do anything and that she will no longer meet with the group of farmers. Through ISIP, I also came to know Attorney Reynold Monsayak, who likewise provided valuable support to ISIP. In recognition of his efforts, ISIP awarded him a certificate of recognition and appreciation at Nomu Bashu, Thomas Morato, Quezon City. Attorney Monsayak was later appointed as the spokesperson of the Office of the Vice President. A copy of the certificate of recognition and appreciation dated June 29, 2022 is here to attach as Annex H. Number 51. The certification of recognition and appreciation was handed by Attorney Ryan to Attorney Monsayak at Nomu Bashu, Thomas Morato, Quezon City, where I was also present. A photo of Attorney Ryan handing the certification of recognition and appreciation to Attorney Monsayak is here to attach as Annex I. Election of Sarah as Vice President and OBP confidential funds. Number 52. After the election of Sarah as Vice President, she invited me to attend her inauguration at the San Pedro Square, Davao City on June 19, 2022. A photo of Sarah and me during her inauguration in Davao City is here to attach as Annex J. A photo of an email thanking me for my attendance during her inauguration in Davao City is here to attach as Annex J-1. Number 53. I was then tasked to provide security intelligence work through the formation of Vice Presidential Security and Protection Group. During this time, I introduced and recommended Colonel Dennis Nolasco, one of my best students in the Presidential Security Group, to assist this matter. Number 54. Colonel Nolasco then tapped the services of Colonel Raymond Dante La Chica to head the BPSPG. Afterwards, I worked with both Colonels Nolasco and La Chica from July 2022 to April 2023 for tactical transport services, security of Sarah and other VIPs, handing and conveying and highly confidential information, and the transportation of large amount of money to several persons as instructed by Sarah. Money deliveries under the instruction of Sarah. In the morning of December 20, 2022, Sarah called me and she said, "Sir Ram, please coordinate with Colonel Nolasco. Meron tayong deliver sa San Pablo, Laguna, sa Night Street, at sa Ombudsman." Sarah added, "Bawi tayo sa kanila later." Later, I received a text message from her indicating the places of delivery, which include San Pablo, Laguna, Night Street, Office of the Ombudsman, and the corresponding contact numbers. Number 56. Later that morning, Colonel Nolasco sent me a text message directing me to go to the DepEd Central Office in Pasig City, beside Ultra at around 1:30 p.m. for the transport. Transport is a shorthand for delivery or transportation of large sums of money between Colonel Nolasco and me upon the instruction of Sarah. After receiving the text message, I hurriedly prepared and went to the DepEd Central Office together with 4 other individuals, Richard Babagay, Arman Villanueva, a certain Chip, and a certain Ruel. Number 58. Richard and I were aboard my blue Toyota FJ Cruiser, while Arman, Ruel, Noel, and Chip came in Toyota Grandia with the sticker Inday Sara Champura Duterte attached to both sides of the van. Richard was driving my blue Toyota FJ Cruiser and Chip was driving the Toyota Grandia. A photo of the Toyota Grandia with the sticker Inday Sara Champura Duterte on both sides of the van is here to attach as Annex K. A photo of my blue FJ Cruiser is here to attach as Annex K-1. Number 59. As we parked my Toyota FJ Cruiser near the main entrance of DepEd, Colonel Nolasco appeared from the main entrance and approached our vehicle. I alighted to the vehicle to meet Colonel Nolasco and we talked while we waited for the arrival of Colonel Chica. He mentioned that they will also provide a red Mazda sedan, which will be used to deliver the money to the office of the Ombudsman. At around past 3 or 4 p.m., 2 government vehicles with red plates entered the DepEd compound, and then Colonel Nolasco told me, ayan na, ayan na. Colonel Chica appeared with a lady who I later learned to be Special Disbursement Officer Gina Acosta. Thereafter, 4 large dark bags were unloaded from the vehicles. 3 large dark bags and 1 lighter colored and relatively smaller bag. Colonel Nolasco told me that each bag contained around 30 million pesos to 35 million pesos. The 4 bags were brought to where Colonel Nolasco and I were standing, which was near my blue Toyota FJ. Afterwards, I signaled Arman and Richard to load the same to our vehicles. The two large dark bags were placed in the Toyota Grandia, and 1 large dark bag and 1 lighter colored bag were placed in my blue FJ Cruiser. The bags loaded to the Toyota Grandia were to be delivered separately to San Pablo, Laguna, and Nomu, Bashu, Tomas Morato, Quezon City on the same day. The remaining bags, initially loaded to my blue FJ Cruiser, were immediately transferred to the red Mazda sedan prior to our departure from the DepEd compound, and were to be delivered to the Ombudsman parking lot the following day. Then, the red Mazda sedan proceeded directly to my residence in Cainta, Rizal, and was driven by Renoel. Before leaving DepEd Central Office, Colonel Nolasco told me to get my share from the said bags, and he and Colonel Chica have already taken theirs. Hence, I took 1 million pesos for myself from the lighter colored bag loaded to the red Mazda sedan. That's when I verified that the contents of the bags were bundles of cash in 1,000 denominations and packed in stacks of 1 million pesos, each tightly sealed in transparent plastic. We, Blue Toyota FJ Cruiser and Toyota Grandia, left DepEd Central Office past 5 p.m., heading to San Pablo, Laguna. As we approached Laguna, I called the contact number provided by Sarah, informing the designated recipient that we are on our way. However, I was directed to proceed to Cabuyao, Laguna instead. We arrived in Cabuyao, Laguna past 8 p.m. and were then instructed to proceed to an area inside the industrial park to meet individuals who were designated to receive the first bag for a politician in Laguna. As we approached the designated place, I can clearly see from our vantage point an SNR membership shopping establishment. Upon arrival, I immediately saw 3 persons standing in wait beside the dark sports utility vehicle. One of them proceeded to the Toyota Grandia and took one of the bags. We immediately left after the delivery of the first bag. 65. Thereafter, we proceeded to Nomu, Bashu, Tomas Morato, Quezon City, a comedy bar we call the Night Strip, frequented by SSC Law alumni, including Attorney Ryan and Attorney Monsayak. 66. I'm quite familiar with Nomu Bashu because I previously visited it several times in relation to my work with Sara and ISIP Pilipinas. In fact, this is the same place where ISIP gave Attorney Monsayak a certification of recognition and appreciation. We arrived at Nomu Bashu around 12 midnight. I went inside the establishment with Arman, who was carrying the second bag. I immediately saw Attorney Monsayak, who was at the time in the middle of the place together with a woman and several men. When he saw me, he stood up and signaled for us to go upstairs. We then proceeded to the stairs leading to the second floor. Arman walked ahead of me while I followed him. Before I got to the second floor, I saw a man who came out of the room and received the bag from Arman. After that, we proceeded to exit the premises, and as I was passing near table of Attorney Mansayak, I looked at him and he nodded. And we completed the delivery to Nomu Bashu. We stopped to eat around the area while eating. I told Arman and Richard to meet me at my house in Cainta, Rizal, later that day at 8 a.m. Number 70. At around 8 a.m. the same day, the team met in my residence at Cainta, Rizal before we traveled to the last location, OMB parking area. This time, however, we only used my blue Toyota FJ Cruiser and the red Mazda sedan, where the remaining two bags were previously placed. We left my residence at around 8:30 a.m. Richard was driving my blue Toyota FJ Cruiser, while Arman and another person, Noel, and he brought along were aboard the red Mazda sedan. '71. When we arrived, the guard gave a signal directing us to park in a specific area in the Ombudsman parking lot. We proceeded to the specific area and parked red Mazda sedan where the remaining two bags of money were placed. We left the keys on top of the left front of the wheel, which is our usual practice when delivering large amounts of money. 72. Previously and upon direct instructions of PRD, Sarah, I've also delivered money to Ombudsman Samuel Martires or Tony Ryan, which I usually place inside an open trunk of a designated car. Number 73. After completing the last delivery, we left the Ombudsman compound aboard my blue Toyota FJ Cruiser. A few years later, I read from several media reports that 125 million OBP confidential funds in 2022 were reportedly utilized in just 11 days. This is wrong because I personally disposed the money in less than 24 hours. Sarah attempt to visit me at Annex 2 BJMP Camp Bagong Diwa.
You can
Numbers-
drink some water, Mr.
Yes.
Madriaga.
Yes,
Drink some water.
Thank you po, sir. Issue. May I proceed, Madam Chair po?
Feel free to start whenever you want.
Number 74. A few years later, I read from several media reports that the 125 million pesos OBP confidential funds in 2022 were reportedly utilized in just 11 days. This is wrong because I personally disposed the money in less than 24 hours. Sarah's attempt to visit me at Annex 2 BGMP Camp Bagong Diwa. Number 75. Sometime in October 2025, after I got arrested for alleged kidnapping, I was called by Jail Warden Jose Marie Sabiniano in his office. As I made my way to the office of Jail Warden Sabiniano, I was surprised to see Sarah through the metal railings of the passageway. She smiled and waved at me. Number 76. When I entered the office of the Jail Warden Sabiniano, He asked me if I know Attorney Joyce. I replied, Joyce dapat, and jail warden Sabiniano handed me a phone. When I said hello, I recognized the voice of Sarah, and she asked me about my well-being and conditions inside the detention facility. She was also apologetic for failing to do something or assist in my ongoing criminal case. 77. Frankly, I felt bad and disappointed given that Attorney Harry Roque filed the case against me in retaliation after I tried to expose his land-grabbing activities in Maribeles, Bataan, together with his Philippine offshore gaming operator partners. As I previously mentioned, I was merely trying to assist the farmers of the said area who were supposed to be awarded of their certificate of land ownership award by the Department of Agrarian Reform, but fell victim to Attorney Harry Roque's activities. Attorney Roque and his POGO partners wanted to convert the said place into a POGO hub after he facilitated the transfer of at least 60 land titles to First Bataan Maribeles holding corporations. In fact, Danny Corral, President and Chief Executive Officer of First Bataan Maribeles Holding Corporations, is also an incorporator of Lucky South 1999 Outsourcing Incorporated and Lucky South 1999 Corporation, which were involved in POGO operations in Pampanga. Number 80, more importantly, I felt betrayed that despite all my efforts to support Sarah, to the extent of even committing high-risk acts for her and her family, she did not lift a finger to stop Harry Roque, who is her known ally and supporter, from filing the unfounded kidnapping case against me. In witness hereof, I have here and to set my hand this April 2026, April 11, 2026 in Taguig City. Appointed signed Ramil Madriaga. That would be all your, Madam Chair.
Thank you,
Grabe yung
Mr.
mga
Madrigal.
revelasyon,
Are you
grabe.
okay?